Many people think there is a spirit world of such a nature that deceased loved ones can actually send us messages. I don't think that's the case. I know that people can get some genuinely helpful advice from mediums, but I think mediumship is like astrology. Good general advice, helpful therapy, but not a valid belief system. Dead people sending us messages is not really what's going on. I had a reading done by a medium I'll call Andrea. She came highly recommended by others in the psychic community. I found that she depends primarily on the technique of warm reading. She makes claims that are generally true of most people anyway, or are true in some way, and lets the client fill in the specifics. Throughout our 1 hour session, I didn't challenge her statements. I just went along with the program. Let's see how she does. Let's see if there's anything to this. My relationships with women.
So I gaze off when I work. I don't really look at you all the time, so don't think I'm like
Okay.
bored.
Yeah.
It's how I stream. If I look at your face all the time, I get distracted. So I kind of look up or above.
Nancy, the woman in my life.
So when I pull Nancy's energy, there's a couple women around you. You're a bit of a catch. I have multiple women around you.
Thank you.
I have a yo-yo. I feel like a yo-yo string. That's what I saw, like here and there.
Comment. She assumes, just because I'm an incredibly handsome man, that I am a ladies' man. But I'm not. I'm not at all a womanizer. And I don't consider myself all that handsome. It's just that the rest of the world ain't that good looking. I mean, have you seen the people at your local supermarket? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The point is, she leapt to a warm reading conclusion, which is not true. I'm actually the exact opposite of a ladies' man. I'm a one-woman man.
She's nice. I have a strong connection between the two of you. She's a bit of a talker.
No, she isn't. If you picked out 100 people at random, she would be the least talkative of the 100. The word that best describes her demeanor is catatonic. She was actually mentally ill, a very closed-off human being. I was her only friend at the time. This was a great opportunity for Andrea to show her psychic ability by picking up on the unusual nature of my once friend Nancy. But already, not 5 minutes in, with the bases loaded twice, Andrea has struck out swinging.
I have family pulling at her. And it feels more like companionship versus relationship. So what I mean by that is,
I mean friendship rather than romance?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, her energy just comes off that way, that she makes a great companion, but she seems to have a lot of other things going on in her life that might interfere with 24/7. That's all. Family, things like that.
Right.
Are you involved with her now?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
No. That would be maybe one question I would ask is, should I be?
Okay, let me get my pendulum and ask. This says yes. That's a big yes.
I should be involved, yeah.
Some people have limited availability because they're busy with their family, or they're busy working, or they're traveling, or this or that, or da 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 da. I kind of have her in that realm versus somebody that's sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
But she's she's a nice person. Why are you hesitating?
I don't think she's a nice person.
Oh, well, at her core, I believe she is. It's okay. And again, you don't have to believe everything that, I mean, whatever I say just streams through me. She comes off as a person that there's a strong connection between you, a talker, and I have some nice energy around her, but, looks can be deceiving.
Throughout our relationship, and even today, the big question is her lack of compassion a function of her mental illness? Or is she at her core just not a nice person? It's a long story.
Ask me a specific question about her,
All right.
and I can
Okay.
answer it better. The more specific
should
you
I-
ask me.
Should I call her less or call her more? How's that?
Should you call her less? Less. Absolutely less.
Well, that would be difficult calling her less, since I have called her exactly 0 times in the last 50 years. I only write her a short letter every year on her birthday. Deborah.
Or who else do you want me to run by?
The woman I'm living with now,
What's her name?
Deb.
Deb? So I have Deb's heels dug in. I have her heels dug in. There's
On
on Deb with you. Her
dug
heels-
in which way? How?
with you.
Dug in with me. In other words,
She's in for the she's
she's in for the long haul.
Yes.
All right.
if from her point of view, in her mind, I have her heels dug in. She's not going anywhere.
So what's her attitude towards me and my interest in perhaps other women?
Does she mind if you date around? Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's not how you two got together. That wasn't the agreement when you got together.
Our agreement when I moved in was that I wouldn't see other women. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Because it feels like the question you're asking me goes against whatever your agreement was when you moved in together. I have it as a no-go with you stepping out on her. Would she like you being with anybody else? No, her heels are dug in. This feels like a long-term relationship,
Okay.
you and Deb.
Andrea has again made a warm reading and jumped to a wrong conclusion. Deb is my landlady. We share a condominium, but there is nothing romantic going on between us. Margaret.
But go ahead, next question.
Okay, maybe one other woman. Let's put it this way. I used to share a bed with
What's her name?
Margaret. So my question there would be, why do you think that relationship ended?
I have a sense of people taking each other for granted. I have a sense of wrong timing. I don't know which one of you, but it feels like one of you was in some sort of midlife crisis as a metaphor, but really feeling like questioning everything that had nothing to do with the relationship. But I just see a shift there. And it feels like it was wrong timing. Sometimes people just come together at the wrong time.
So if we had met at a different,
You might be with her.
even today,
Yeah.
so I should look her up.
You could look her up.
Okay. All right, good idea.
Let me see if I think she's alone or not. Hold on. I think she's alone. I don't think she's seeing anybody. I think she would take your call. Yes, so I would vote to give her a call.
Okay. I worked for many years as a counselor for special needs people at a group home. I did the sleep-in overnights there during the week. I slept on a staff bed. Margaret did the weekend overnights sleeping on the same bed on those nights. So we shared a bed literally, not figuratively, not at the same time. I was not in any kind of a romantic relationship with her. We were just co-workers. And there's no point in my calling Margaret since she passed away years ago. It's more than clear to me that Andrea is not getting information from the spirit world, but is just making good general guesses, which so far are flat wrong. And no, these are not blatant lies by me, but just ambiguous setups, giving her the opportunity to perceive the truth of the situation or erroneously make conventional assumptions as she has so far. Myself. All right, that would be the women. Then what about myself? Should I maintain the same interests I have now, or should I?
I have you bored. I don't have you challenged. I think you need a change.
Well, I've been interested in a particular subject all my life, and so I'm still interested in that. I feel that's productive, and I don't want to go to a different
Okay.
topic. So.
But do you do enough with that subject? I mean, do you travel? Do you push further? Do you read more? Do you?
I travel, I push further, I read more.
But I push you to do more. Try something else because you're kind of coasting.
All right.
I want you to be fearless. I have a sense of fear in you, and I want you to be fearless.
I am not coasting, and I am not a fearful person. The lost item.
If you asked me to find your lost cat or something, I'd be like, I can't help you.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. Not a cat. It's an item I lost. But anyway.
I'm not so good. I give a stab at it, but I'm not so good with the lost item. But that's not me, in my wheelhouse. Though you can still ask, what is it lost?
Something my father lost years ago that we couldn't figure out where did it go in a limited area? Where did it go? We
The
never,
minute you said my father lost it, I saw a box like a toolbox or something.
toolbox.
Where you lift the lid up like a box. I don't know what you lost, but that's the vision
Okay.
I had.
Yeah.
Is it a toolbox?
No, it's just, we don't know where it went. It was like, how could it disappear?
Who's got a shed?
We had a shed at the house, yeah.
Because you said, where's it gone? And I just heard the word shed.
Okay. Well, I don't, the shed's not there anymore. So anyway, that's a minor thing. That's a minor thing. The item was not kept in a shed, nor did we even have a shed at the time. The item was very unusual. No one would guess what it was in 1,000 guesses, which is why the item is a good test for supposed psychic ability. My father.
So there's a way I'm trained as a medium that I go and do that, and I ask him to come in. So I would do that first, and then I would ask him to give me some information about him so I know it's him, and I would share that with you. So I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
And anything I say, he says, is about you. And also understand there's multiple, you're surrounded by all your people in spirit. So sometimes one comes in, but another person's right close by. So I could be connecting with both. It's more for you to figure it out. I don't stop to keep trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let me do it.
Does this help? Pictures?
Yeah, sure.
I handed her a sheet with pictures of my father, mother, brother, and sister.
Oh, you know me, the name helps. What's his first name?
Gasper.
G-A-S?
Gaspar.
So first of all, I'm going to ask him to tell me a little bit about his passing or his decline so I can see what that was all about. It was a fast passing. In his mind, it was relatively fast passing. It's like people saw something coming, but at that moment, it just seemed fast.
So there was some
There was a period of decline, but then, sometimes it's like people are in decline, but yet they're always wake up every day. They wake up, so when they actually pass, it's like, whoa. He passed fast, ultimately. There was a period of decline.
No, there wasn't. He died of an aortic aneurysm, so there was no period of decline. It was sudden. And dying a full day later is not a particularly fast death.
This was somebody, I have his people were around him in his decline. His people were around him.
Like me?
Yeah, his people meaning his family.
No, I was not there when he died. Note the warm reading technique coming up here. You make a good guess. If you hit, you're golden. You've got the client hooked. If you miss, you wiggle out of it in some way. Many older people have hearing aids.
I don't know why I'm tugging at my left ear. Did he have something going on with his hearing or his left ear?
No.
Okay, he's given me, so I don't know what that is. Sometimes things make sense later. It's good you're taping. Someone's fishing. I'm at the lake, but I have someone older than your dad. Two. I don't know, but I'm in a sense I'm in a lake or a pond or something. I'm fishing.
Like his father.
Yeah.
How unusual, a father going fishing with his son? Who ever heard of such a thing?
And the minute you said his father, I started hearing music, like military music.
How unusual, a grandfather who was in the military? Who ever heard of such a thing?
2 languages spoken.
2.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was 4, not 2. Why say 2 if it was 4? It kind of brings up a question I was going to ask. Was he disappointed that I didn't follow a career in music?
No, absolutely not. But he's very musically inclined. I think perhaps that's why he's showing me that. Very musically inclined.
No, my father was not musically inclined. That was another loaded question of mine.
He was all about you being in a path in a way that would make the most of it. He wanted you to succeed. He wanted you to succeed in society, in your life, in your job.
Is this a perceptive insight from the spirit world? I mean, how many fathers do you know who want their sons to fail?
It's up to you to figure out who's saying what. I'm just going to tell you what I'm getting. It's like I give you dots and you connect them.
Exactly. It's the client who is connecting the dots. The medium pretends that what you just said is specifically what she was getting. And the client goes home convinced that the medium came up with all kinds of specific hits, when in fact it was you who came up with the specifics. She just made good general guesses.
It's dots that we get, impressions, and then people go home and they think about it later, like, oh yeah, that must have been Uncle Bill, or oh yeah, that must have been so and so. So this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing cards being played. I'm at the table. I'm seeing cards being played. I don't know if it's poker, or it's like gin rummy, or I don't know what, but I have cards being played. I have your dad.
Playing cards?
It could be. It could be. I have cards being played.
My father was not a card player. If there's a game to be connected with me and my father, it's chess, not cards.
That was, but I also believe he had a set of friends. I believe that it wasn't just family. He had people he would hang with. Maybe they'd sit and have drinks together, whatever, at the same place. Maybe it's a VFW hall, something, I don't know. But there's a place, so he had a sense of friends, not just family.
No, my father did not have a group of friends he hung out with.
I've been working on the railroad. I'm hearing I've been working on the railroad, the song. Don't know what that means. I get a lot
He
of-
wasn't a conductor.
Trains did not play a significant role in my father's life. But Mickey, didn't he ever take a train? Ah, you're right. You're right. Another impressive communication from the spirit world. Wow, all these insightful things I'm learning about my father. My grandfather.
My grandfather, my mother's side, he served in the military, and he lost his rank, and he never talked about it. And I was curious what he's got anything to say about that.
He lost his ring.
Right, rank. He had his rank taken away from him.
Oh, okay. What was his first name?
Gustav.
Well deserved.
Well deserved that he got his rank
Well
taken.
deserved. That's what I hear. Well deserved.
Okay.
And I'm shrugging my shoulders.
Well, maybe that's
Well
why
deserved.
maybe that's why I didn't want to talk about it.
He's also someone you'd have to pry the words out of. This wasn't a talker. Okay, he's like.
Uh-huh.
That's
So-
how he's
so-
saying that.
He wasn't a talker?
He wasn't.
No, he was a talker. One of the things he liked to do is to sit at a cafe with friends and family and expound on all his ideas about society and economics and politics and so forth. And Andrea could not be more wrong about my grandfather deserving to have his rank taken away. My grandfather was a general in World War II in the Hungarian branch of the Nazi army. He started to complain about the treatment of Jewish prisoners, and he had his rank taken away. My grandfather was not being a scoundrel, he was being a humanitarian. My father again.
Your dad take me out to the ball game. I have a sense of sports around this. I think he had an interest in sports. Why am I looking at wrestling? I don't know. I'm looking at something to do. But I'm watching a wrestling match.
Well, I don't think he was interested in
Five, one of five. If it doesn't make sense now, when you think later, from one of them it will. I just have to keep giving you the info. I'm hearing one of five. So
one of five.
one of five. So was your
One of
dad
five,
one of
right.
five kids, or were
One of
there,
five. Oh, okay. Oh, one of five kids.
or
No.
were there five in the family, or do you have one of five, or were there five?
Five. There are five in our family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're
Yeah,
one
me
of five.
and these four here.
Okay.
So this was something of a hit, though we had to do some adjusting to make it fit. Note that it makes no sense for a deceased loved one to want to identify himself to me and offer only a vague bit of information, when all he'd have to do is offer a specific bit of information. Like, hey, remember the time we got lost in the woods near Echo Lake? I asked if my father had anything to say about an unresolved issue between us, a misunderstanding that I wanted to clear up but never really had the chance to do so. What a great opportunity for her to prove herself. But all she had was generalizations again, advising me to let it go, he understands.
Whatever you're saying, he's hearing. Right now, he's hearing
Yeah.
everything you're saying.
Well, how do I know it's him? I mean, you're saying that. How do I know?
There is no exact. There is no exact science to mediumship. So by some things like one of five or a song or a thing, you're like, yeah, that makes sense to me. I get that. Oh yeah, that makes sense to me. I get that. That right there was telling you that it was him and not somebody else. When you said, why the one of five, what does that mean to me? It's his way of saying I'm in the room with you. They don't talk in full sentences. They don't give you whole answers. It's like static on a record player. It's very strange mediumship. That's their way between other things, if you believe in mediumship, that they can communicate with us. There is no exact science, there is no proof. And some people believe that what we're doing here is no more than me somehow energetically reading your dad off of you. Some people would argue that. A skeptic would say, well, how do you, I know you're not picking my brain. I don't know. I just know, I was just know how I was trained as a medium and how I work.
Okay, well, that was one of my main interests. Is there any proof of the afterlife? You know, if my father said what his nickname for my mother was, I'd
That's
know.
like people saying, what's my secret word? Sometimes spontaneously that comes through in mediumship. Usually there's an aha moment where something makes sense. Because sometimes it's the simplest things. It's, I'll say waterfall, and people will just...
But a specific thing, like if there's any specific thing from any of my dead relatives that only they and I would know, then that would be a proof. But you
Yes,
say you never
and
get
that's what
that.
happens. No, I do get that all the time. But it's like the word waterfall.
Yeah.
And then people will go, yeah, I understand why he's saying waterfall. And in your mind you're going, yeah, that was that 100-foot waterfall he's referencing.
My mother.
Is this mom here?
Yeah.
She had a loss early on. It's like she lost a child.
Note how she doesn't say she lost a child, but says it's like she lost a child, which extends the range of the fishing net she is casting out.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, she had a loss.
Yeah.
It's right there when I look at her. She never really got over that.
When I respond, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, not, yeah, you're right. I'm trying to stay as neutral and non-committal as possible. And again, she's proving she is reading me, not the dead, because again, she got it wrong. My mother never lost a child.
So, spare the rod, spoil the child. So I believe it was a kind of, I'm hearing spare the rod, spoil the child, so I believe there was a level of strictness. 6 o'clock was 6 o'clock, this or that. Kind of the forming of people in a traditional way, that we follow these procedures and our kids will be formed correctly and all of that.
No, my parents were not strict. They didn't have to be strict. They were reasonable. They always made sense to me. Discipline in our family was virtually never an issue.
I do have a sense of sports around this. So I don't know if your dad was just enjoyed a spectator watching sports, or somebody in one of you kids was in sports that he was watching, because I have a sense of that strongly around him. Brothers. I have a strong sense of brothers being important, brotherhood, brothers sticking together.
I did not have a close relationship with my brother.
Mom was quiet. He ruled the roost. Kind of mom was quieter.
My father didn't rule the roost. My parents were very much an equal pair. This is becoming a seminar on conventional human behavior. But neither I nor anyone in my family were particularly conventional. We were all individualists. My mother once told me that if you see a group of Germans going down the street, they all go together in a group. But if you see a group of us Hungarians going down the street, we're all going in different directions, every which way on our own.
Failing health. I don't know if it's her or a sister of hers. Somebody had failing health. They were kind of, we would call it today a weak constitution. Feels like they were sick a lot. I'm not sure it was her or it was a sister.
Yeah, my mother's sister had a quintessentially weak constitution. She didn't exist. My mother didn't have a sister. And my mother was remarkably healthy all her life until late in life when she got Parkinson's. Andrea brings up the Red Cross. No connection there. She brings up uniforms. Yeah, my grandfather was a military man, but she's still flat wrong in more than 90% of her statements, and what she gets right is just general stuff.
The band. I'm listening to drums. My foot's doing that thing when people are drumming. I don't know. I'm hearing music. I feel like I'm in a jazz club or something. Maybe that's what it's intimate. Some sort of club, something like that.
A jazz club played zero part in my family's life. I mean, come on, bring up Elvis for my sister, Roy Orbison for my mother, if you're really in touch with this supposed spirit world.
It's almost like she loved you the most. There was a fierceness of your mother's love for you. Like you were missing something, or something wasn't right and she was overprotective. Or there was something when you were growing up that she wanted to shield you from or hide you from. I don't know.
My mother was not overprotective of me. She knew I normally handled myself quite adequately in the world.
Question.
Yes, stop. Go ahead.
Was she disappointed in my academic performance compared to my brother and sister?
She's sorry that she made a point of it. She's sorry that she emphasized that. She was trying to raise everybody right. She wanted to raise everybody up right. She didn't want to give you the impression that it was any less or that you didn't do to the best of your ability. She somehow felt if everybody didn't do good in her mind that it was somehow a reflection like she wasn't mothering right or something, but no. So the answer is no. Okay, so no.
Or
was
she
not
just wanted me to
disappointed.
do better, not,
She wanted you to be your best self,
yeah.
not what everybody else was. Couldn't speak that at the time.
So if I didn't do as well as my brother and sister, that was okay with her,
That was okay.
effort-wise.
That was okay. She loved everybody, but I mean all her kids, but there's something about you that she just wanted to give you a little more. And I feel the sense of wanting to toughen you up for the world. I don't know. If anything she worried about, it seemed something about toughening you up for the world. But no, she didn't worry about your academic. That doesn't matter at all.
Andrea is misreading my congenial manner as a lack of toughness. Here is an actual letter my mother wrote to me when I was in college. She was not disappointed in my academic effort compared to my brother and sister. She was disappointed in their effort. This is further proof that she's not in touch with my mother, but just guessing at high percentage scenarios. Like I said, she relies primarily on warm readings. I also might mention a plus and a minus in her technique as a medium. On the plus side, she likes to get into a stream of consciousness without interruption. And the effect of that is that the client doesn't have a chance to challenge a wrong statement. She essentially presents a fait accompli. You're supposed to accept the whole ball of wax, and if you don't, it's for you to sort out, not her. That technique normally works for her. On the minus side, she kind of keeps her eyes closed as she talks, which means she doesn't have the ability to read my reactions and adjust on the fly, which is a critical part of this phony craft of mediumship. Though I would not be surprised if she actually sneaks an occasional peek at clients to see how her statements are playing. Of course, with me, these things don't work that well because I'm trying to stay as neutral as possible so she can't read me. And I'm not telling her when she's wrong, but just nodding and going along with the program. Remember, she's supposed to be reading dead people, not me.
Well, first of all, with the music, he's talking to you. So he's got synchronicities going. He's sending you messages. I don't know which one of them. I think it's wrong. I literally have things being thrown in front of you. So I don't know.
All regarding music.
Yes, that it's him. That's one way. That is one way.
That's like him identifying himself by.
Yeah. So when you see that happen, when you sense it, stop what you're doing and say, what was I just thinking about? Why would Dad come in now? What was going on now? Because there's a reason why at that time he would come in.
I repeat, a key element of mediumship is that the client connects the dots, not the medium. Yet the medium takes credit for the specifics, and the client goes home thinking how remarkably specific the medium was.
Garden, I'm smelling the flowers. Your mom loves spring. I have all these flowers. I'm smelling them.
What woman doesn't like flowers? But my mother was not a big flower person. My sister.
Cancer. Who had cancer?
My sister.
Okay. This is your sister?
Yep.
I'm hearing the song from Bruce Springsteen, Glory Days. I don't know why I'm hearing it.
I don't know why either. For my sister, I would expect to hear an Elvis song.
Teacher. I have a lot of energy of her teaching. So whether she was a teacher or just in her life, she was someone who taught people stuff along the way. I have a strong sense of teacher here.
I would not characterize my sister as a teacher, but rather a performer or an actress or a comedian.
And I'm conscious of my lungs. Water. There's something about the water. I feel like I'm looking at I'm on the beach. I'm looking at the ocean. Why is this with her energy?
My sister had breast cancer, not lung cancer. My sister was not a beach person.
And I'm watching someone scatter ashes on water. Do you know anything about scattering ashes for anybody on water? They're showing me that their ashes being...
Note how she didn't say that I scattered her ashes over the water, but asked if I know anything about scattering ashes for anybody. She wants me to fill in the specifics.
I scattered her ashes, yeah.
Okay, that's what you showed me. Interesting, I've never seen that before so clearly.
I scattered her ashes on land, not water.
Oh, Dad.
Was
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
you do sports.
Yeah. Does he say anything about that? About his?
Unrealized potential, like he was seeing it through your, like he was hoping you could get somewhere he couldn't. He was hoping you could surpass something that he couldn't. And it's like there was like a missed opportunity or a blocked opportunity on his end.
On his end.
Now I'm hearing that song. What is that song? Got high hopes. He's got high hopes. That was him with you with sports.
So, like, he wanted to become a professional in his sport,
But
but he wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah. He never, the sports always defined him. That was one of the first things I saw with that. So he, in his mind, the sports always defined him.
But you can't tell me what he did, right?
Well, I can only, each
Like-
medium sees it differently. You might sit with somebody else and they'll see a soccer ball or a football. Sometimes I see that. I'm not seeing that right now.
Why not? If my father would like to identify himself to me, why not?
God,
That's it. That's
I hope. Bam! Except I'm in a ball field, like a baseball field. Bam! I'm cracking a bat. Take me out to the ball game. So,
so a baseball.
that's what he just showed me. I just saw baseball. I just saw someone batting a ball. And I saw someone batting a ball, and then I saw a shortstop. So I don't know.
My father never played baseball in his life. There was no baseball in Hungary where he grew up, nor were there professional leagues in the sports he engaged in. My younger son.
Well, I didn't even want to get into this, but did you get anything on my younger son? That's a big topic. So.
Wait,
But,
on the other side?
yeah,
What's his name?
John.
Regrets. Words not spoken. Looked up to you in a way you couldn't express. I have a ripple in the community when he died. This wasn't just I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. This was not just a family loss. There was a ripple in the community. So there were other lives that he affected that were also affected by this passing. He's sorry. He never meant to disappoint. He says it's complicated, and it's not. It's not complicated. He's sorry he disappointed. He didn't have your strength. He should have listened. You were right. And he didn't listen. I couldn't listen. He's saying I couldn't listen. He always felt off. He never really felt like he belonged correctly. So it feels like he found another way or something that made him feel better because he just didn't really feel right, or he felt off, or he says, it's not about you. It's not about you. I feel like I'm going head to head, like you and him are going head to head on differences. And he's like, I'm sorry about that. I was blinded. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a lot of pain in this child. I have a lot of pain in this child of things he couldn't work through. I have him at peace. I have him trying to reach you through energy. energy, things like phone and modems and electricity, lights and things like that. Like I don't know, he works through energy.
Trying to reach me through those?
Yeah. Yeah, so whether you notice the lights blinking or the modem or your phone not going or a doorbell going off or something like that, sometimes just take a minute and just in your mind say, "Son, is that you? What are you trying to say?"
If you're not familiar with the term apophenia, you should be. It means the universal human tendency to seek patterns or connections in random information. Now, seeking patterns is a very natural and critically useful thing to do, but so many people go overboard and let their imaginations run wild. And Andrea is encouraging me to do just that, to read significance into random events. But I will not do that. That's one of the very first things I learned from my father when I was a little boy. Don't fool yourself. Care about the truth. Was there a ripple in the community when my son died? No, there wasn't. And that's because I never had a son. I just said so to see what she would do with it. Of course, the true believer will immediately accuse me of being a despicable liar, having the wrong attitude. No wonder this session didn't work. You're a liar. You're not honest. You're closed-minded. You know nothing about spirituality, yada, yada, yada. If that's what you think, I'm not going to argue with you. You're beyond arguing with. No amount of evidence will change your mind. I'm not on trial here. Mediumship is. And if you think I'm not open to hearing from deceased loved ones, that's ridiculous. I'd like nothing better than proof of an afterlife. Years ago, I came across this definition of a psychic. A psychic is a person who knows things about you that you yourself don't know. Namely, that you're a gullible blockhead. Most mediums know full well they are running a con. It's an industry that has been around for centuries. There is no end of gullible people in the world. If a believer claims that just because Andrea did not come through, that does not mean other mediums are not legit, I beg to differ. If a top medium like James Van Prague can be thoroughly busted, it's not likely there are others out there who are legit, especially given the fact that 1, they all use the same techniques, and 2, if mediumship were true, it would have been easily long since proven by science. There are certainly mediums who believe their own nonsense. The history of religion shows that humans are very prone to believing in magical forces. I would ask people who are on the fence about mediumship to better appreciate real magic, real spirituality, love, friendship, beauty, music, nature, instead of the childish spirituality of mediumship. Lastly, I would say that a refutation of mediumship does not necessarily mean a refutation of God or an afterlife. And to see what my reasoning is here, you should check out my video called Defending Soft Theism Against Atheists. Thanks for watching.